2011, like I said, had a little different of a vibe. Like I said, what Morales, talked about was it felt a little bit more like business. Like you said, the plan was to win that next one, that first one in TD Ameritrading. And that's something I think, like you said, is so cool. Nobody can ever take away from South Carolina baseball, closing out Rosenblatt and opening up TD Ameritrade. But that 2011 season, like I said, we sit here, the 10-year anniversary of that season. How much different was the mindset from, the top down, from Coach Tanner to yourself to the players? Because like I said, again, 2010 was, this is something we hope we can do. 2011, that was the expectation, bottom line. And like you talked about the fans, I don't know that anything less than a national championship would have sufficed. Because, I joke with the guys that played on that 2012 team. I'm like, how does it feel to be on like the best forgotten team ever? Because nobody talks about 12. And I'm like, they went to the final. But it's like when you don't win it all and you won it back to back, it just, it's crazy.
Well, at 11 team, we as coaches, we knew we were pretty darn good. Everybody in our league is good though, at the, you always fear as a coach that the ball's not going to bounce your way. And we were equally matched against Florida or Vanderbilt. And, we wouldn't make the big pitch at the right time and we could finish third in our division. That could easily happen. Yeah. So that was the scary part for the coach, the coaches in 2011. But our players, they never let any worst case scenario enter their mind. They were arrogance, probably a little strong, but it was close to that. It was a team that never felt like they were going to lose. It didn't matter what the score was or what had happened in the course of the game. That team felt like it was the best team on the field, and that when the last out was made, or we were going to be ahead. And it didn't matter where we were playing. It didn't matter who we were playing. And that stemmed a lot from, Roth was obviously important. We had Matt Price at the end of the game, which we knew if we had got the ball to him, the game was pretty much over. And then, and I tell people this, and this is no disrespect to some of the great kids I've had a chance to recruit, but I don't know if there was a more important recruit than I ever recruited than Adrian Morales. And I think the kids that are on that team actually probably understand that. And I think the coaches, obviously, that were in the dugout understand that. Adrian had a way about him that everyone, they followed his lead. He was tough. He was mean. He never always felt, no matter what was going to go on the baseball field, that we were going to win if you had just listened to him. I mean, in many ways, he was once the game started, in between the white lines, he was the coach. And but he was so emotional and he so tough and never gave in. And I think many times during those 2 years, we followed his lead. And he was an important. There was better players on that team. Obviously, there's big leaguers and guys still enjoying great careers. Witt's leading the American League in hits. Jackie's a Gold Glove center fielder. Sam Dyson's had a good run in Major League Baseball. Christian Walker just wears it out left and right. So we had some great players. There were better players on those teams. I don't know if there was a more important player than Adrian, and it was cool to witness that. And it just made us, as it taught me a great lesson as a coach, that you don't have to be the most talented kid on the field to have a huge impact. Right. And you didn't have to be the most talented team on the field to beat your opponent. Blake, like you said, Blake Cooper, a little kid from East of South Carolina throwing 87, 88 miles an hour is going up against Garrett Cole, who's throwing 106, and we found ways to win. It didn't matter. We're facing Garrett and Blake's facing, and I know the commentators at that point in time in Omaha didn't give us much of a chance. Yeah. But, the mindset of the Blake Coopers and the Adrian Morales of the world didn't expect anything less.
Yeah, I had Kyle Peterson on the show, and I had to ask him, was Oral pulling for UCLA? To be honest, so no. It's funny you bring up Morales though, because I chatted with Bobby Haney about this. He obviously talked a lot about Morales, and like one of the funniest things he said was, I think it was 2010. He said Coach Tanner's getting on Adrian. Adrian looks at him like, "Coach, relax, I got this." And Bobby was like, he just told Coach Tanner to relax. He could do that though. That's just
he did it a number of times.
Yeah. Like nobody could fathom a player doing that.
I remember one time Coach Tanner put on the bunt when Adrian was bunting, and he stepped out of the box and raised, put his hands up like this. What are you doing? And Tanner got on in between innings. Said, what are you doing that, embarrassing me? And he goes, Why? And then Morales is like, why are you putting on bunt? I'm leading the team in RBIs. Yeah, I felt that was a dumb play. I still remember it. And only Adrian,
Yeah.
do that.
Fierce
Like
competitor, man.
Bobby's right. If Bobby or Wingo or Adam Matthews says that to Coach Tanner, they're probably in the shower. But
Yeah.
Adrian had that way of he just had the respect of everyone in that dugout because of the competitor that he was.
For sure. Let's jump ahead to 2011 College World Series final, Game 1 against Florida. Have you ever been part of a crazier baseball game?
Well, we had some crazy ones out there. The Virginia one was crazy too.
Yeah.
We got out of some jams that were. I don't know exactly how many, maybe 3 bases loaded, no out jams that we got out of and didn't even give up a run.
Yeah.
Some of the plays that Wingo and Robert Berry made against the Virginias and the Floridas of the world. Incredible. We played defense. That's the one thing that I still carry with me every day out with my team is, if you play defense, no matter who the opponent is, you're going to have a chance to win. And that team, no matter if we didn't hit, 1-0, we played defense. We always made our opponent beat us. And some of the plays we made when Jake Williams throwing out. Jake Williams can't throw. He can't throw. And when I think Zanino got that hit, I feel like, all right, we're down 1-0. How are we going to win 2 in a row?
Yeah.
And I kind of put my head down, and all of a sudden I looked up and the ball's traveling the home plate. And I'm like, hell, he might be out, and lo and behold, Jake Williams, who couldn't make that throw, if he threw it 100 times, he wouldn't make it. He wouldn't make it 2 or 3 times. And we tagged that guy out and got out of some more jams the rest of the way. It was just, you hate to say fate, or you hate to say it was just meant to be, but when stuff happens like that, you wonder, wondered if there was a higher hand involved in the outcome of those games, because some special things took place.
Yeah, it's funny. I need to get Jake Williams on the show, because I've probably had 20 different accounts of his throw and how he doesn't have an arm. I want to get Jake on here and be like, Jake, just you tell me what, because it's funny, speaking of
he can throw.
Speaking of Morales, he like, one of my favorite quotes I've ever had on the show was, he literally just starts with, Jake Williams did not have a good arm. Like, just call it for what it is. Don't even sugarcoat it. And like you said, he just made the throw of his life, which thank God he made it in that time.
On the biggest stage.
Oh, yeah.
Championship with, it was incredible. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories, too, is after you guys get that win in Game 1, I think it was Bobby telling me, or I forget who it was, because actually, Bobby wasn't on that team. It was somebody else, though. They said Steven Garcia was at the team hotel, and he had seen Florida come in. And he was basically hyping you guys up, saying, like, you got them. They're just shot. And I think you saw that. That's – you think how they lost, man, just how deflating that must – you can imagine being on the other side. But, again, you get that win in Game 2, and Matt Price closes that thing out, and Jackie catches the ball and throws it in center field, which is another funny story that he actually explained on our Instagram. It was kind of funny, ironic. But winning that one, again, back-to-back, you did exactly what Coach Tanner said you were going to do, close out Rosenblatt, open up TD Ameritrade. I know the feeling was different winning that second one, but it couldn't have been any less sweet, right?
Well, I think the first one in 10 was probably more euphoric because it's something that we'd never experienced before, and I think in 2011 maybe was more satisfying. So, because how hard it is to do. It was. I think that was the feeling I got as a coach, and I'm sure the players probably feel that way. They might not have found the right words to explain it, but we were all just on cloud 9 and euphoric in 2010, and in 2011. We knew everyone was going to be shooting for us. We knew we had a good team, but we knew we were going to have to play incredible baseball to get it done. Sometimes the best team doesn't always win, as we all know. And I think winning in 2011 was just it couldn't have been more satisfying, and we couldn't have felt like we accomplished anything greater. Again, 10, euphoric, the feeling of, wow, we just won a national championship. To 2011 was, wow, we did it again. This is a special group. Let's take it all in and really, really relish what this group has accomplished. And I think the feeling was, like Adrian said, business-like is probably close to the right term. That team was business-like, but they were extremely confident. They were very close. They had great chemistry. And they had a sense of arrogance about them that they felt like no matter what, we were the better team and we were going to win. it didn't matter who we were playing.